Hey everybody. So what we are on is we're on Google Maps, and we are at Strong. And what I want to do today is I want to do some map work, but it's nearly impossible to do map work not in class to color in maps and stuff. So I had to think of how to do it. I also wanted to continue our G of Greece, our geography of Greece. So yesterday you learned about the terms and stuff, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you where Greece actually is. So on Google Maps, I'm just going to type in ancient Greece. By the way, this is how you spell Greece, Greece. There's other ways to spell Greece, but it's like the stuff that drips off of meat when you're cooking it. Get that type of grease. All right, so it will bring you to this area, and you see all sorts of stuff that I could look for in Greece if you're interested. I can go and check out the ancient Agora of Athens. I can check out ancient Sparta, that is what we are named for, the Spartans. The Museum of Ancient Greek Technology in Crete. All sorts of different things that you can check out. And maybe one of the times next week, what we'll do is we'll take a virtual tour of one of these areas, maybe Sparta or maybe Sparta and Athens, just to check out what they would look at. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to start where Greece actually is and then zoom out so you can see where it is in relation to other places. So we heard about the Balkan Peninsula. The Balkans are a set of mountains that start all the way up, way past where my tabs would be, and they come down the west bank into Greece, into these countries of Montenegro and Kosovo and Albania and North Macedonia, all down into Greece. So the Balkan Peninsula is actually this whole peninsula that's from all the way up here, all the way around and down into here. So this is the Balkan Peninsula, but to its west and east are two other peninsulae. Here's one that's shaped like a boot. That's the one most people know. That's Italy. And here's one called Turkey, but back then it was called Asia Minor. So Turkey is right here, and then this sea right here in between Greece and Turkey is called the Aegean Sea. And a lot of the myths of ancient Greece, you'll hear them talking about the Aegean Sea. And here's the Aegean Sea. The city of Troy, where the Trojan War was held, is thought to be somewhere around this area. So right about there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out with my little zoom. Do I have to move my camera? I do. So here is zoom out, and you'll see there's Italy to its west. So here's Greece, here's Italy to its west, here's Turkey to its east. Zoom out a little bit more. There's Egypt. We didn't really talk a lot about Egypt this year, but Egypt is right there. So the classical world, the classical civilizations have always been thought to be Egypt, Mesopotamia, which is right here, Greece, and Italy. And then you can also see some of the European countries here. So England, France, Spain. So Greece is kind of in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, Greece and Italy. And many people believe that's why Greece and Italy had such important roles economically in Europe, is because they're just center of it. India would be just past Iran over here. So if I zoom out one more time, so India, which we just studied, is right over here, and China is right here. You can't see that it's labeled, but it's right over here. Here's the Atlantic Ocean, so you know that the United States is somewhere around this area. So not where the map is, but where this area is. And then we have Africa to its south. So this is where Greece is. So Greece is in southeastern Europe. I'm zooming back in, and it has a couple of main areas. This area is called the Peloponnesus. It's a peninsula. It's connected to land right there in a very thin strip of land called the Isthmus of Corinth. Isthmus is one of the terms that you learned about yesterday, and it connects to the rest of Greece. So Sparta really controlled the Peloponnesus, and Athens basically controls the rest of Greece that's up here. So those are the two major cities um, that control most of Greece. And you'll see right there labeled is the Aegean Sea. We're going to learn a little bit about them soon, but really Greek history starts on this island called Crete. This is the Greek name, Crete. And basically exactly where that museum would have been in a city called Knossos. That's where the first cities of the Minoans are. And in where is this? Probably where this camera is a city called Mycenae. And that's where the first civilization in mainland Greece would have started. So when we're talking about Greek history, the first place we're looking at is this area called Crete, and the second place is this place called Mycenae, um, which is, I guess, the ancient city of Gortys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple maps, and then after you look at some of these maps, you'll be asked some questions on a Google form, and move that there, and then just move on from there. All right, so this is a map of Greece, and what I just talked about is Knossos and the Minoans and Mycenae, right about there. This is about where the camera was. These are the two locations where the first ancient Greeks were, and that's what we'll talk about. So this type of map is just your basic um, physical map. Physical map because it shows you some of the mountains there, the rivers, although there are not that many rivers. And also you can tell the lines of latitude, which are north and south, and lines of longitude, which are east and west. So 20 east, 25 west. Here's my compass that tells me where things are. Here's my little ruler that tells me how distant things are, and the best way to measure distance is just use a ruler and kind of put it next to that and see how far things are from each other. Okay, so this is a physical map. The next map that I have is a resource map. You see these all over the place. So remember, Greece is in southeastern Europe. So here's all of Europe. And in southeastern Europe is Greece. It's not even labeled. See, everything else is labeled, Tyrus and Italy and Carthage and Cyrene, but Greece itself, where my star thing isn't labeled. And what it does is it tells you what items are being sent to Greece to show you the economic strength of what Greece was. So all of these areas were sending economic goods to Greece in exchange for other things, probably some of the stuff from the other areas that they were collecting. So this is a good map to show you economics and spread. Pink is Greek settlements, so you can see a little bit or slightly the pink areas are where the Greeks colonized, kind of like England colonized the United States. Greece had some colonies up here in Asia Minor, in Sicily, on the boot part of Italy. They have them there in Africa, a few colonies in Egypt. So they had colonies all over the place, and they would send goods back and forth. So that's a resource map. Um, Here is a slightly more detailed physical map showing you a couple political things too, city names, but you can tell where the mountains are. This is where their most important mountain is, Mount Olympus. But it also labels physical features, the Balkan Peninsula, Ionian Sea, Mediterranean Sea. So this physical map kind of shows you where things were. And last but not least, you have a political map. Did I want to use this one? No, I wanted to use this one. So this political map, the reason why it's called a political map is it shows you the polises or the countries. Polis is the Greek term for a city-state. So political map shows you the polises, and the polises is what we would call countries. So you see that, where's my little label? Here it is. This is actually later on in Greek history when Athens and Sparta are kind of mad at each other. So we see all of Sparta's friends are going to be in pink, all of Athens' friends are going to be in orange, and all of the states that kind of don't want to take one side or the other are going to be this grayish greenish color. Actually, the greenish color, because gray is just not related at all. So what you see is this state called Macedonia is pink. And by my label, that means that they would have been allied with Sparta. They would have been on Sparta's side during the war. The state of Thessaly would have been on Athens' side during the war. And here's Athens, right here, on what's called the Attican Plain, or Plains of Attica. And here is Sparta in the, if this is the Peloponnesus, it's kind of in the center of the Peloponnesus, a little bit to the southeast of the Peloponnesus. And we'll talk about how they are slightly related to each other. Okay, so a political map is one that shows not physical features. I don't see the mountains here. See, I don't see any of the mountains. I see borders. I do see some rivers, but I don't see the mountains. I don't see the physical features of the land that I would see in a physical map like some of the others. And I see the countries. Some of the countries are labeled, like here, like Boeotia and Peloponnese and Achaia and Aetolia, but some of them are not. Like, I don't know what this one's called. I don't know what this one's called or this one's called. So some of them are labeled and some of them aren't, probably for the fact that it wouldn't fit on the islands of what they are. Although this island is called Thassos, this is Lemnos. So some of them are, they're just, they're not exactly where they're supposed to be, but these are not labeled. These little islands aren't labeled. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you, kind of like I did for the CNN 10, I'm going to send you some questions about how to interpret different types of maps. Just a little bit of this is just to see, can you identify features on a physical map or a political map or any type of map. Just like yesterday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign it over 2 days. So you could do it all today on Thursday. I know this video is going to be approaching 13 minutes or so. So you can do it all today and then have Friday off, or you can stop the video today and do all the work tomorrow on Friday. Tomorrow's office hours will be in the morning, so like 9:30-ish or so, for those of you that are stuck and can't quite understand how to do the assignment. Okay, so you will have various amounts of charts and graphs and things to look at, and get some questions. There'll be these maps, and then I'll just ask you some questions about it. Alrighty, so hope you have a good day. Be good to mom. Make sure she gets something, even if it's a card that you color in and whatever it is. Be good to mom and grandmom and stepmoms and all sorts of other things. I will see you Monday.